There was such an obsession about anything in my world, including tracking down my parents, and I did everything I could to protect both of them in that media frenzy. For over a year, the UK tabloids were trying to find my dad, offering people so much money to try to find his address. Once they did, I remember being told there was a huge headline like, "We found him," or "We've got him." And from that point, the tabloids, they moved into the apartment next door and across from him, descended on this small town. We're just giving him gifts. The whole thing brings us to where we are today.
Did it feel like betrayal when you found out your father was working with the tabloids?
If we're going to use the word betrayal, it's because when I asked him, when we were told by the comms team this is a story that was going to be coming out, which, by the way, the tabloids had apparently known for a month or so and decided to hold until the Sunday before our wedding because they wanted to create drama, which is also a really key point in all this. They don't report the news, they create the news. We called my dad and I asked him, and he said, "No, absolutely not." And I said, you know, the institution has never intervened for anything for us, but they can try to go in and kill this story. But if they do this once, we're not going to be able to use that same leverage to protect our own kids one day.
He said, no, absolutely not. He hadn't been talking to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he basically lied to you.
Well, and so when I said we won't be able to protect our own kids one day, and I said, so I just need you to tell me, and if you tell me the truth, we can help. And he wasn't able to do that. And that for me has really resonated, especially now as a mother. And also me saying just full stop, if we use this to protect you, we won't be able to protect our own children one day. Well, I'm talking about your grandchildren. I genuinely can't imagine doing anything to intentionally cause pain to my child. I can't imagine it. So it's hard for me to reconcile that.
So your father being hunted down, it seemed like you were saying in some ways that they did this to him. So I want you to be able to clarify this, that the tabloids, the media did this to him, they hunted him, but he has a responsibility in it too.
Everyone has accountability. Look, they've hunted my mom down.
And she didn't speak to the tabloids.
You've never heard her say a word. She's remained in silent dignity for 4 years, watching me go through this.
And Samantha Markle, your half-sister on your father's side, has written a supposedly tell-all book about you. What is your relationship with her?
I think it'd be very hard to tell all when you don't know me. This is a very different situation than my dad, right? When you talk about betrayal, betrayal comes from someone that you have a relationship with, right? I don't feel comfortable talking about people that I really don't know. But I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows. And I wished I had siblings. I would have loved to have had siblings. That's why I'm so excited to be pregnant, so that Archie has someone. It was really interesting the last time I saw her must have been at least 18, 19 years ago. And before that, 10 years before that.
So you all weren't close, you didn't grow up together?
No.
She doesn't really know you?
No, she changed her last name back to Markle in, I think she was in her early 50s at that time, only when I started dating Harry. So I think that says enough.
Was the move about getting away from the UK press, because the press is, you know, is everywhere, or was the move because you weren't getting enough support from the firm?
It was both.
Both.
I needed to do this for my family. This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well, because I could see where this was headed.
They didn't want him to be a prince or a princess, not knowing what the gender would be, which would be different from protocol, and that he wasn't going to receive security.
What?
It was really hard. Look, I was really ashamed to say it at the time, and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry, especially, because I know how much loss he's suffered. But I knew that if I didn't say it, that I would do it, and I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
The way that I saw it was, there is a way of doing things, but for us, for this union and the specifics around her race, there was an opportunity, many opportunities, for my family to show some public support.
Did you think she was well received in the beginning?
Yes, far better than I expected. But, you know, my grandmother has been amazing throughout. My father, my brother, Kate, and all the rest of the family, they were really welcoming.
Your relationship with your father? Is he taking your calls now?
Yeah, he is. There's a lot to work through there. I feel really let down because he's been through something similar. He knows what pain feels like. My father and my brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave. And I have huge compassion for that.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
There's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
with Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
That conversation I'm never going to share. But at the time it was awkward. I was a bit shocked.
Can you tell us what the question was?
No, I'm not comfortable sharing that.
Okay.
It's a girl.
You're gonna have a daughter.